6 lat temu brałam udział w szkoleniu dla menadżerów kultury organizowanych przez Brukselę. I tam poznałam Sali Abu Bakr, która jest dyrektorką Biura Kultury w mieście Ramallah. W wyniku naszych rozmów ona wykazała zainteresowanie założeniem programu rezydencyjnego w Ramallah i postanowiła mnie zaprosić na jedną z ważniejszych imprez, które organizują, mianowicie na Kalandia International. I był to moment, jeden z najważniejszych momentów w moim życiu. Projekt Codzienne formy oporu jest bardzo rozłożony w czasie. Składa się właśnie z rezydencji, z zgromadzenia, które odbędzie się na początku października w Zamku Ujazdowskim oraz z wystawy, która w przyszłym roku będzie otwarta również w Zamku Ujazdowskim w maju. Październikowe zgromadzenie jest pierwszym publicznym momentem tego projektu. Zaprosiłam do udziału osoby, które były moimi przewodnikami po Palestynie, osoby, które w niesamowity sposób potrafią o niej opowiadać, reprezentują też bardzo ważne instytucje w Ramallah.
I am Khaldun Bshara, an architect, restorer and anthropologist. I am the director of Rewalk Center. It is an NGO founded in 1991 to protect, restore and regenerate historic centers of Palestine. We are not an engineering or architecture practice per se. We do much more. For instance, we do the Rewalk Biennale. Rewalk Biennale started in 2005, is to attract people's attention to the heritage state of preservation in Palestine, not to the art scene itself. And it's not about a huge staged exhibitions. We sometimes only took people from cities to villages. Because of the fragmentation and the checkpoints, they choose the easy way to stay. So we moved people in the villages and then they saw the possibilities. This is one key issue of the Rewalk Biennale, not the exhibitions. We don't have exhibitions most of the time. So we use art differently. And if you call the trip as an art, it's fine. If you think about the oral history, as an art, it's fine. We are doing art, though we are not rational. Because in Palestine, restoration is a crazy thing. We had to use ambulances to go and do site visits for archaeological sites because ambulance is stopped at the checkpoint, but not as much as a private car. One of the things that we have been doing actually is to shift paradigms in restoration. While in Europe, restoration is luxury and restoration is for the intellectuals. Restoration is so expensive. Restoration is for the sake of aesthetics and so on. In our case, we do restoration because it helps people find job. We restore buildings because it is a nice space in a village for a women's center. We do restoration because we don't want the handicraft to be lost in this contemporary life. So in Rewalk, we try to make this luxury as a necessity. As a necessity because we are in very tense geopolitical conditions. We live in a place that everything is contested. Everything, I mean space, memory, history, archaeology, is all amid any conflict between Palestinians and Israelis.
My name is Mira Bamie. I'm an artist and my practice mostly revolves on politics of disappearance. I created a project called Palestine Hosting Society, and Palestine Hosting Society is a project that looks into disappearing Palestinian recipes, and I try to go to the people and collect those recipes and bring them back to the present moment. I wanted to bring food back to the table as a way to rethink the place where we come from, outside all this heavy political rhetoric. And I wanted food to be the space where we look back to ourselves and understand what happened, and how can we, through food and through reconnecting with food, we can build a stronger, more solid future for us in Palestine, but as well for us in the world.
My name is Yazid Anani. I'm a curator at the Qattan Foundation, and I run the public program here, including exhibition, concerts, publications, and we're very keen on trying to produce an alternative knowledge. I used to teach at Birzeit University as a professor in architecture and urbanism. I quit the university because I thought that it's very important to use art and culture as a tool of opening the eyes of the public on issues that normally academia is incapable of doing. Through art and culture, it becomes a language that is closer to the public. I'm very interested in topics that has nothing to do with what is typically known about Palestine and Israel. For example, nowadays I'm working on a document that I found in the British Mandate Archive, whereby there was a moving exhibition in Palestine that introduces 33 seeds and weeds to farmers. And I'm very interested in how the term weeds have been introduced to Palestine, because we don't have that in Arabic, for example. But with the British Mandate, this division between a crop that is useful for the industry and what is not part of the crop industry becomes weeds and it's not useful. So I'm inviting 33 artists. We'll work on an exhibition that sort of subvert the whole notion of non-useful plants and sort of go back to the roots and the history in Palestine, where these weeds used to be used for everything. So I'm interested in these diversions between colonial structure of knowledges that will enter Palestine and then change how the Palestinians think about their surroundings and their culture.
Nazywam się Karolina Grzywnowicz, jestem artystką, autorką projektów interdyscyplinarnych, które często bazują na researchu. Pracuję dużo z różnymi naukowcami, specjalistami z różnych dziedzin, ale również często pracuję w archiwach. Od jakiegoś czasu pracuję nad projektem Every Song Knows Its Home. W tym projekcie staram się zbierać piosenki migrantów, ale piosenki, które nie są tworzone przez profesjonalnych muzyków, tylko wynikają z takiej bardzo oddolnej potrzeby opowiedzenia o doświadczeniu migracji. I dlatego szczególnie ważne wydało mi się, żeby tak naprawdę zacząć poważną pracę nad tym projektem tutaj w Palestynie. Ten projekt tak naprawdę idzie dwutorowo, to znaczy zarówno podróżuję do różnych archiwów dźwiękowych, w których mogą znajdować się takie zapisy, natomiast również nagrywam z uchodźcami, migrantami. Tutaj w Palestynie pracowałam w dźwiękowym archiwum Popular Art Center. Udało mi się znaleźć również takie piosenki, które rzeczywiście mówiły o codziennym życiu i tych właśnie codziennych formach oporu. Natomiast zainteresowana byłam nie tylko tymi piosenkami o Nagbie i tymi mówiącymi o tych wydarzeniach z 1948 roku, ale również tą współczesną narracją tego trzeciego już pokolenia migrantów żyjącymi w tych samych obozach dla uchodźców. Więc zaczęłam również nagranie z młodymi chłopakami, raperami z Kalandia Camp, żeby zobaczyć, jak oni mówią o swojej codzienności życia w okupowanym kraju.
I'm Mohammed Saleh, permaculture practitioner from Palestine. I manage Mustadam Eco Design, a social ecological enterprise that serves the community in bringing ecology or nature to their life, mainly in the city. The urban farm that I planted in this house, in a very old house, is trying to restore the concept of victory gardens. Gardens in the 80s when Palestinians were under siege, to allow them to be sufficient and eat their food from their land and not need anybody, so they're secure. This t-shirt that I have here says Al-Fallah Al-Madani, which means the urban farmer. But there is small words here that says that without the farmer, the city person dies. And this is a sentence that I learned from a taxi driver who I was chatting with about self-sufficiency. As a city person, he was telling me, but we say in Arabic, without the farmer, the city person dies because there's no food. So this is a kind of a resistance, a very simple one.
Lately, I've been thinking more and more about the word liberation, and I think when we put that word as a target and as a name for ourselves, it leads to something. And sometimes we've been exhausted by everything that's surrounding us. And to create a space where we can be free and we can free others around a kitchen table, then that's my aim, and that's something that I really would like to create at this kitchen.
Pomysł na tytuł, na codzienne formy oporu wziął się właśnie z tego zafascynowania codziennością Palestyny, gdzie Bardzo małe gesty, codzienne rytuały, spotkania, uczenie się, sadzenie roślin w mieście, w obozach dla uchodźców. To wszystko stało się częścią oporu wobec tej bardzo trudnej sytuacji, wobec sytuacji okupacji i też taką próbą zachowania człowieczeństwa. Chciałabym się temu przyjrzeć poprzez opowieści artystów, poprzez indywidualne historie, indywidualne spostrzeżenia. Sytuacja w Palestynie jest tak skomplikowana, że w zasadzie każdy mój wyjazd tam to jest uczenie się czegoś na nowo. Więc w tym tytule najważniejsza jest dla mnie ta codzienność, takie ludzkie, codzienne wartości. Więc mam nadzieję, że to spotkanie będzie też szansą do takiego sensorycznego trochę przedstawienia polskiej publiczności, tego kontekstu i być może łatwiej będzie też partycypować w wystawie, której główną wartością będzie opowieść snująca się.
W tym projekcie bardzo ważne dla mnie jest świadectwo samych Palestyńczyków czy samych uchodźców, z którymi nagrywam, własna narracja. Zależało mi na tym tak naprawdę, żeby przyjrzeć się również funkcjom tych piosenek w obrębie społeczności, które je tworzą. Mogą służyć do komunikacji pomiędzy uchodźcami, do tego, żeby mogli się odnaleźć po latach i takie piosenki również mam w kolekcji, ale jakby wydaje mi się, że w tym geopolitycznym kontekście one mogą być właśnie aktem oporu, taką codzienną praktyką oporu. Dlatego, że ludzie się zbierają, śpiewają, przeciwdziałają właśnie wykorzeniającej polityce Izraela, kultywując swoją tradycję, swój język, swoje zwyczaje.
The topic is important because it gives agency to the people. Resistance has nothing to do with groups only and organized structures, rather than it is an agency for every person. Partially because we lost hope in political structures and parliamentary democracies and the representation of political parties and the way they instigate change. And I think because of that, so many people are trying to find alternative ways of making change and combating the tyranny and the authoritarian structures of governments that exist nowadays.
Sometimes I think to use the word resistance for Palestinian is already too heavy because we do it on everyday basis but without defining it. Especially that resistance is a word that we were brought up, like with intifadas, with wars and with the everyday of being. We grew up with the word resistance or muqawama in our heads. So for me, when I started my practice as an artist long time ago, I think I was trying to escape that word. I was trying to escape being defined as a Palestinian artist all the time. But I think at one point I realized that whatever I do, even escaping, is a political act. And I think with time and me understanding myself more and understanding the place that I came from, I made peace with the word resistance. And I do think that through the recipes, I do resist, but I do resist losing the essence of what being a human being and a Palestinian is all about, and that is being connected to the land. We as Palestinians now, in the current moment, are just encapsulated and imprisoned through geographies that are surrounded by checkpoints and by walls and by suffocation. So yeah, every day of resistance is a way that I view my practice through. But I try to see resistance as an opening. And I think the sentence, everyday acts of resistance, is very subtle and calm, and it creates change, which I think we as Palestinians are more and more aware of its impact and of its importance, more than the big political actions.
The everyday life, the existence itself in Palestine is a resistance. We fight to write history, to bring knowledge to the people. We fight to bring training to the people, to bring food to the people. It's not only like the Israelis and Palestinians are fighting and Palestinians are terrorists. We think that political game is too dirty and we can do a nicer politics and we can be influential in our communities by doing something meaningful, to engaging meaningfully with the people in the villages and towns. And most of the people in the world are living in cities. In Palestine, we try to reverse this condition. We try to move people from cities to the villages. because we think that the resources are in the villages, the know-how are in the villages, the landscape in the village, the production is in the village. Why to bring people from the villages to the cities? This is a bigger question of rework. Why not to make something totally different that allow people to think about alternatives, about how they approach life? So this is part of our work, our everyday life.
For a country where the core concept of establishing was that we don't exist. I mean, the Zionists said this is a land without people. Restoring houses that exist before 1948, before the Zionists came, is kind of an act of saying we were here. The same for my work. I train farmers to go and occupy their land again and plant it. The whole program was a program where we're trying not to let these lands confiscated and gone to the hands of the Israeli army, who wants just to say, there's nobody here, nobody is doing anything in this land, so we will take it. Suddenly farming, being in your land, walking on it, grilling, eating, having friends, is saying, I'm still here. So this is what I mean when I say every day our choices are political choices. This beautiful concept of not reacting or fighting, but actually strengthening yourself is a very important thing to bring back. And exactly near this urban farm, there's a street where lots of youth under 18 were killed just because they threw stones. They had a bullet in their head or in their heart from saying, I don't accept my life. I don't accept to be a prisoner in a wall. My vision is to put this land near this kind of street and to tell these youth, maybe we can resist in a different way. Maybe we can resist by making ourselves strong, by staying peaceful, by connecting philosophy to farming, by connecting art to farming. So art is out of necessity, it's out of need, it's part of our life. So we need not to forget that art is our way to do anything and to raise a voice out of our normal and daily routine to say something different. So this is another kind of resistance, but very important.